Welcome back to the Filmmakers Blog. My name is Kevin and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Filmmakers Friday. In this video we are going to talk about anamorphic lenses, not anamorphic lenses. I almost messed up myself. Anamorphic lenses. And we're just going to get into how those things are designed and how they look on screen. Just a reminder to head over to thefilmmakersblog.com for more videos and in-depth articles just like this one. Let's get started. So anamorphic lenses are very interesting, and I think to understand the full scope of what makes them interesting, we need to know what an anamorphic lens is, why it's used, and what it does to the image. So starters, anamorphic lenses were created to create a widescreen look without losing resolution. It has now taken over the Hollywood look, but the look is called CinemaScope, that wide 2:3:9:1 ratio, and anamorphic lenses allowed that to happen. Now you can still shoot that wide ratio with a normal spherical lens, except you'll be losing some resolution on the top and bottom of your image because you have to crop it. With anamorphic lenses, it's able to squeeze all of that information into a widescreen look so you don't lose anything. The way that they can compact all that resolution into a widescreen look is because when they originally film it, they film a very clustered, compact image. It's still in a square look because they're still shooting on a square digital sensor or square Super 35mm film, but therefore it's very compact and crushed. So once you have your footage, then you stretch it out in the post-production process into this nice wide CinemaScope fashion, and it's able to keep all that resolution in there. So that's the stretching process I'm talking about. And during that stretching process, you'll have the bokeh, not spherical but oval shaped, and then you'll have your lens flares more horizontal and the streaky. And that's the style that's born from this process. Hey guys, a little editor's note I forgot to mention is that there's many different types of anamorphic lenses. There's a ×2, there's a ×1.5, a ×1.3, and that gives you different aspect ratios for how much you stretch the image. Just wanted to make sure I got that in because that's fairly important. Now let's move on to our fake anamorphic lenses. Now you may have seen a lot of stuff on YouTube and things are going around of some adapters that you can put on regular lenses to make them anamorphic, or maybe even a DIY anamorphic lens, which is kind of like a cardboard cutout of an oval shape that you'll put on the back of your lens with some fishing line on it. So why does that work? Why does that replicate a similar look to a real anamorphic lens? So when you put that oval shaped cardboard cutout on the back of your lens, it mimics an insert in a real anamorphic lens. And then the thin string or fishing line you put on the back of your lens in between the oval cutout just amplifies the horizontal lens flares, because once light hits that fishing line, it will spread it across the lens. And you'll see that in some of the test footage I did in the beginning, a little intro for these lenses. All of those flares were created just by shining a flashlight right outside of the frame, straight into the lens, hitting that fishing line and creating a flare horizontally across the image. So that's how your DIY rig can replicate an anamorphic lens. Now these fake anamorphic lenses have that rig built into the lens, so you don't have to do it by yourself and you don't have to put cardboard on your glass or put anything weird on your glass. It's all built in. So if you look inside the lens on the shot I showed earlier, there's this length of string or fishing line or reflective metal or something across the lens that creates those horizontal lens flares built into the anamorphic lens. So since this is an anamorphic lens and not a real anamorphic lens, it's not compacting the image when you first film it. Therefore, it's not giving you the extra resolution in the CinemaScope fashion, and you don't have to stretch the image in post-production. So then what's the point of grabbing these anamorphic lenses? Well, the whole point is to achieve the anamorphic look without actually buying expensive anamorphic lenses. So it's a cheap hack to achieve that look of oval bokeh, to achieve that look of horizontal lens flares without going out and purchasing an expensive set. So you're still gonna need to crop your image, and it's not really a big deal because you've probably been cropping your images from day one trying to get the widescreen look, especially if you're shooting on a 16:9 aspect ratio. Cropping it any wider than that, you're gonna lose some pixels. So that's just normal. So now you're just living your normal life, but now you get this anamorphic lens that you're able to mimic this anamorphic look, and boom, now you have a futuristic film with oval bokeh and horizontal lens flares. So that's the point of this lens. Now, I had a lot of fun playing around with these lenses, but there's a couple things I found that were just a little bit off. Not too bad, not at all, but it could deter some of you from purchasing them in the future, and just want to let you guys know, since I know, and that'd be wrong if I didn't let you guys know. So the first thing that I found out was that if I go all the way wide, open all the way, the lowest aperture, the most wide open aperture I can make it, there was a blue tint that went over my footage. And I think this was something to do with the metal or fishing line that was in the lens. There was a blue coating over the fishing line, and I felt like something was happening reflecting in the lens that allowed that blue coating to just kind of flood over the image only when I was as wide as possible on the lens. Once you just went maybe a half a stop up the f-stop scale, then the blue went away, but that happened consistently with every lens. Now, I didn't mind it too much because I felt like if I was using these lenses, I wanted a very futuristic, modern look, and you know, the blue wouldn't hurt, but I'd want to have more control over the color in my image and put that blue tint in post-production if I really wanted it. The second thing that I realized with these lenses is that when I focus on the closest object I can with the lens, whatever its minimum focus is, if you focus there and you have some bokeh in the background, sometimes, not all the times, just sometimes, the oval bokeh will have a line down the middle of it, and I think that is the actual fishing line that's in the lens, so it was visible sometimes, not all the time. But then again, hey guys, just doing a very quick editor's note. I'm trying to look for my footage to back up what I'm saying right now about the bokeh and the line between in between the oval bokeh, but I just can't find it, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it on this one. But then again, I was really focusing on around 10 inches to 1 foot away from the lens, as close as you can. So you're not going to be in that situation many times, but it could come up and it could just be a little weird with that line in the middle of your bokeh in the background. Alright guys, thank you for watching till the end of the video. Make sure to like and subscribe so you are notified when I release my next video, even though you already know it's coming out next Friday, Filmmakers Friday. Let me know what you think about these Anamorphic lenses, and if you had the opportunity to use them in a film, if you would. Go ahead and comment that below, and I'll see you guys next week for Filmmakers Friday.
In the front row, kicking back old school tracks like damn.